morning. We'll go ahead and call the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Also sitting at Special Taxing District, May 22, 2023, 9 a.m. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing. And we're all here. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Hines.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Why? It only goes to 4. See? Okay. Shift. A. Okay, hold on. Let's remove it. It's so low. Yeah. A. She's a top. Pretty amazing, huh?
We'll go ahead and move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to direct staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for future discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Desiree, do we have any? No. I do have a speaker form. Gail Castricone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gail Castricone, and I am the advocate for the Avenue B and C Colonia Butterfly Project. I have missed some of the Board of Supervisor meetings because I have 11 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren that needed some hugs from their nanny. So I went to Prescott in Tennessee for a visit. A little bird told me that you guys missed me while I was gone. I hope that was true. I graduated the city's Neighborhood Leadership Academy on April 13th. After that, I spoke at the City Council's call to the public. It was nice that they opened the meeting in prayer and that I got 5 minutes instead of 3, just saying. At Easter, I did my traditional handout of Easter goodies. I met some new people. As we visited, it was sad to hear that the area I was in enjoyed their neighborhood, but now have noticed that there's a big increase in crime. Unfortunately, Bam Park and Fifth Street are still out of control, with more crime and a surge of many more fires being set. It is unsettling to know that our already taxed Sheriff's Department, YPD, and Border Patrol have been called out because of more crimes in the Bam Park and the surrounding area. It is our hope that this nightmare will end soon and that the slumlords in our area will no longer be able to intimidate people and offer only substandard housing. It is known that slumlords target areas like the Avenue B and C Colonia. They know exactly what they are doing, and they are willing to play cat and mouse games with law enforcement and code enforcement for as long as they can. And that can be for years, and that has been for years in our area, unfortunately. In closing, I would like to share something I read from Martin Luther King Jr. From 1963. To remain silent about sin is neither safe nor sound. It's the sin of tolerance, and it is cowardly. Thank you to all of you that have worked diligently to protect the most vulnerable tenants and homeowners in the B&C Colonia, the children and the elderly. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Those comments, and Ian will still be looking into that, and as I know, we've been looking into that area for a while now.
Yes, sir, and I believe we have a meeting, is it tomorrow? Yes, sir. Yes, thank you.
Moving on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustments. no legal actions will be taken.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Michael J. Pancrasi to the Board of Adjustments. My current person is, has to resign due to his health.
So,
Thank you.
all right, and we'll move on to, anybody else? We'll move on to item number 1, presentation by Ilenia
Aguilar.
Aguilar. I wanted to pronounce the first one right. Source Global Business Development Manager for Arizona regarding safe drinking water for Arizona families. Ilenia, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much, Chairman Porches and Vice Chairman Lyons and board members for this opportunity. My name is Ilenia Aguilar, and this is my colleague Tom. We are coming from Phoenix, where we live and work. We work for Source Global. It's a company that produces a technology that creates water from sunlight and air. I'll be talking about it a little bit further in the presentation, but wanted to give a little bit of context for everyone else. I know that a couple of you guys I've talked to either through Zoom or you've been to our office to learn about the technology, and we're very grateful for that time and opportunity. So the owner and founder, Cody Friesen, is a professor who was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and went to ASU and left after he completed his bachelor's degree to attend MIT, where he completed his master's and PhD, came back to teach at ASU, and out of the ASU labs invented this technology that's similar to a solar panel. Instead of energy, it produces water from sunlight and air. So that's a little bit of context. We are an Arizona-based company with the founder from Arizona, and definitely have our heart invested in improving the communities of our state. So we know that across Arizona, families in many different types of vulnerable communities haven't had access to clean drinking water. There are many reasons that we are experiencing this. Sometimes it could be because of contamination. Sometimes it's because we're experiencing aridification, so the permanence of dryness. There are people who live off of wells, and they don't have access to clean drinking water. So we have, at Source Global, the opportunity to help. Obviously, it's not like the ultimate solution, but it is a solution for drinking water only. Our technology does not create water for showering or anything other than drinking and cooking. So we, our purpose is to ensure that everyone has access to clean drinking water, and that every person has not only, good water, but it's great tasting water, because everyone deserves that dignity of access to potable water, clean drinking water for themselves and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you very much for letting us be here. My name is Tom. The Source Hydro Panel, which is the technology that we'd like to be able to provide to homes here throughout southern Arizona, uses sunlight and air to quite literally make drinking water. We look at making about 3 to 4 24 packs worth of water per week for a household. Is kind of a good way to picture and get an idea of what that production would be. Generally speaking, in this part of the country, that's about an $840 to $900 savings that a family would be able to look at in terms of just from a monetary point of view over the course of a year. But more importantly, this is an opportunity to reduce waste, reduce the burden of having to go and purchase or acquire water that is potable and safe to drink, and also just being able to sort of have a bit more independence when it comes to truly the most important resource that all of us need on a day-to-day basis. I know that there an opportunity to talk a little bit about the tech here. Yeah, so anyway, here's a bit of an image of what our Source Hydro Panel looks like. And what we're actually promoting here is an opportunity through a grant that we received through the state to provide 2 hydro panels to eligible families throughout southern Arizona. There's an example of, 1.5 hydro panels that you can see there. In the center of the hydro panel is a traditional solar panel that powers the entire system. So this is a technology that's completely off-grid, self-contained, and self-powered. Flanking that on either side are what we call solar thermal panels, which are taking in as much thermal energy as possible from the sun. And effectively, what we're trying to do is get the inside of the machine hotter than the air around it. So even on a hot, dry day like we're about to experience on the rest of today, we're still going to be able to make water. Because what we're doing is drawing in this ambient air that is going to be laden with some amount of water vapor, and even down to an extremely dry day, we're able to affect passive condensation inside the machine, which allows for us to take that water vapor, condense it into pure liquid H2O, which trickles down to a reservoir at the base of the panel where it's stored, kept clean through an ozonation process, and also mineralized with calcium and magnesium, because of course when you're condensing that water vapor, it's just pure water. We want to make sure it tastes good and is good for you. In a scenario where this is being provided to a household, 2 of these panels are set up outside of the home. Water is stored within that reservoir, kept clean, and then we pipe a solitary line into the household. So these folks would have maybe a secondary faucet at their kitchen sink, tied into the fridge, an easy access to this clean, delicious water right there inside their household. Yeah, to that end, it's something that we know is kept clean through this ozonation process. Each one of these panels maintains a cellular connection with our network operations center in Scottsdale, so we're able to monitor their output performance throughout the lifetime of the panel. So that is to say, because there are a lot of components inside the machine, if something were to step out of a certain range, essentially that panel raises its hand. We're able to diagnose any sort of an issue from a distance, fix it from an issue, and make sure, most importantly, that we're providing the highest quality water throughout the lifetime of this technology to whoever is receiving these hydro panels.
The lifespan of the panel is an average lifespan of 15 years. So for 15 years, you don't have to purchase bottled water. And as my colleague explained, it's off-grid technology, so it doesn't need to be connected to absolutely anything. It doesn't need to be plugged in. It works just basically off of sunlight. And they work in pairs, so every household gets a pair. And depending on the family, so we know that Latino families, Native American families are intergenerational. Sometimes you have a family of like 5 to 6 or 5 to 8 living in one house. So if that's the case during the survey process, people like those families would get more than 2 panels. But usually, in a household of 3 to 4, you'll get 2 panels per family. We are in more than 52 different countries.
Yes, that's true. And many of our panels are deployed here in Arizona. This, actually, I want to update this, will be at close to 600 homes throughout the Navajo Nation right now. We've got homes on the San Carlos Apache reservation as well as the White Mountain Apache reservations. We're working to install a number throughout the Tohono O'odham nations as well. But that's just here in Arizona. And as Alinea pointed out, we have panels truly around the world, working in some of the harshest and driest climates that you can imagine. And it's something that, well, on a personal note, having been with the company for 4.5 years or so, it's really kind of incredible to go and talk to people that are driving 60, 70 miles sometimes one way to go pick up and haul water because of the scenario they're in, where suddenly they have some real independence from that. And we really believe that this can be something that is really life-changing for the folks that we can provide it to.
Yeah, so one of the areas that a focus for us is the colonias. So we are very focused on colonias, tribes, in any rural area living off of the well. So that pretty much covers most of Yuma County. We're also working with Hopi in the TO and Nogales, Santa Cruz County, and Coconino, no, not Coconino, Cochise County, sorry. The border communities, anywhere where it's close to the border, because we know that that's where the colonias are. So we are trying to ensure that we are reaching the most vulnerable communities first. We know that sometimes it's not a matter of infrastructure. Sometimes it's, climate or different factors that are impeding access to clean drinking water. So that's why we are here today, to share about the work that we are doing here and to share about the program that we have. We were able to apply for a governor's grant program, which afforded us the opportunity to install in 800 homes. So that means 1,600 panels. They have to be ground mounted, meaning that the disqualifier isn't like income or anything like that. It's going to be, do they have the space in their home to mount the technology? Because as you can tell, they are not little, they're 4x8 and they are heavy. And for some of the communities that we work with, unfortunately, we cannot mount them on their roof. So because it is a grant-funded opportunity through the governor's office that we are grateful for, we have specific requirements that we have to abide by, and that is one of them. So we would love to work with homes and community members here that would benefit from the technology. And that's pretty much what we have for our presentation. If you guys have any questions, we'd love to answer your questions, and thank you.
Mr. Chairman? Is it plumbed into the house? I mean, there's no reservoir, there's no tank that holds the water, it's plumbed directly into the house?
So yes to both. It is plumbed directly into the home. Each one of the panels has a reservoir in the base of the unit. Hard to tell on this image, but effectively between where those cinder block stanchions are, up underneath inside, is where a reservoir tank, about 8 gallons in capacity, resides. So you'll have 2 of those. The water stays in the panel where it's kept clean, monitored. We make sure that everything is above board there. And then we plumb a line from the hydro panels into the home where the water is dispensed. And a J-hook faucet kind of looks like an RO faucet that you might see in a home.
How do you keep, I mean, it's a desert, so, how do you keep it
temperature, I
cool?
imagine,
Yeah.
is-
How do you cool it? I mean, you have to refrigerate it?
So that is one thing that is something that needs to be addressed by the homeowner. I have 3 of these panels in my parents' home in Chandler. My mother's typical thing is she'll go in the morning, fill up a couple gallons or whatever out of her jugs, pop them in the fridge, and then they just kind of stay cold. So that is one thing that the resident does need to address. In parts of the year, certainly a lot of the year here in Arizona, is pumping out the water, keeping it in the fridge, getting it chilled. There are other options, though. Another option that would have to be outside the grant, but a homeowner can do is purchase a top-of-counter sort of filter that you can have a refrigeration aspect to it. We can tie it into the fridge as well.
Right.
Usually
several
the bathroom is a shower. Ooh.
Well, so that gets us up against where, although that is a great point, the volume that we're producing is not quite at the level to where we're going to be able to handle sanitary purposes and things like that. But did that answer your question, sir?
Well, yes, it answers the questions. And again, this will be at no cost to whomever qualifies. You would
Correct.
go through a qualification process if you qualify for the installation, as long as you have enough space to put in 2 4x8s, 4x4s, or 4x8s.
4x8, yes, sir.
4x8 panels, and, you would do the plumbing to the house in the way that wouldn't
Yes.
interfere with the operations of the house. And where do people apply?
So just to answer that with transparency, there's a 5-year warranty that's included with the technology, and that covers the replacement for the filters, because there are filters involved that need to be changed once a year. After the 5 years, it's up to the homeowner to request and pay for the filters. There's a cost that's involved,
It's
approximately.
about $65 per year. And this is to say that if a homeowner did not want to opt into paying for those filters after year 5 of having the panel, it's just going to slowly make less and less water. Really what we're looking at is an air filter on the side of each hydro panel that, just like your air filter and your air conditioner is going to slowly, catch more filth. But in a worst case scenario, the homeowner could just not replace that and start making less and less water. We'll still be monitoring the panel throughout the lifetime. There's no cost for anything like that.
All right, so they require cleaning?
Annually, there's just an air filter and a water polishing unit that needs to be replaced. For the first 5 years of this program, that is covered through the grant. We're actually actively searching for more funding for the additional 10 years, but we have not received that yet. At any rate, at that point, the highest burden that any recipient might have is around $60 to $70 per year to replace those air filters, and that's going to be optional to them at that point. If they choose not to do that, we're not going to come knocking on their door demanding the money.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear out of transparency, because we do care about the communities we work with, and we know that sometimes $50, $60 is a lot of money, for a family. So we just wanted to share that. So after that, there's no cost whatsoever. It is a program that we're working on getting signups. So after you sign up, and then our team in Scottsdale does an analysis, a site survey, depending on, does this home have trees? Do the trees or whatever,
Block the sun.
is obstructing the sun?
It's a solar
Then we
company.
get to determine, do we move forward? Does this house qualify based on the location. And then that's how the process goes. You know, we would love to give it to everyone. And we know that there are families that really need it, but it definitely, we want it to work. So we want to make sure that based on the location and the direction of where the solar panel needs to be installed, that we are doing our due diligence by doing what's right for the community who's getting it because it is a governor's grant. Yes, Ms.
Okay, finish up. Where do you apply?
So we have a.
Oh, you have a panel
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, so there's a website in here someplace. And on some flyers I'll hand out happily to
Yeah.
anybody in the
Okay,
room.
all right.
But it's source.co/AZWP, I believe, is
Probably
the.
won't qualify, but.
How, like your parents that live in Chandler, how much would they cost if people were to buy them?
Probably not.
In that case, my folks have 3 panels. That would have been at about a $7,500 installation. Each panel retails at about $2,000, and there's of course some costs for installation and things like that. So it is a hefty value that we're able to provide to these homes, and again, at no cost to them.
Right.
And we will be providing like a list of sign up that you can share with your community members, and they can go to QR codes, or if they are not, I'm not very savvy with technology, so there's a place where you can call a phone number, or you can go on the website. So there's different options in Espanol and English, because we understand that our community members are diverse, and some of them are monolingual Spanish speakers, some of them are bilingual. So there's different opportunities for people to sign up and communicate with our team, who, you know, speaks both languages.
All right. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it. Thank you very much.
Elenia, I know I toured your facility or the facility last year, and I tell you, it's like walking into NASA. I mean, they got all kinds of screens that are monitoring all the panels that they have throughout the 32 countries they have. But it's amazing. Lot of young, very smart individuals that work there. It's incredible the way it's set up. I saw the technology, you know, up front. I think, I mean, this is great. I know you asked last year when I talked to you about the Colonia areas. I know you're going to leave some information so we can take them there, or
Yeah, absolutely. So have some flyers with me right now. I'd be happy to distribute to y'all.
It's safe drinking water, right?
Yeah, so
Very
that
safe.
water was made, I usually say in your backyard, but it's in our backyard on Mesa, where we have a water farm, which is
You drink it
something
first,
similar to this image where you have more
Actually,
than
here's the
100
image right
panels.
there.
Is that, oh yeah, that's where the water came from. So that was produced in the backyard. We obviously are not in the business of selling bottled water, but this is what we use. So you can try the water and see what it tastes like, but that was made from the air in Arizona. So let me know. I am gonna record your first impression of you drinking the water.
I emptied that bottle and filled it up with the tap water here. So.
It tastes okay.
See?
Mini
So-
fridge in my hotel wasn't working last night, so I'm sorry they're not chilled. But
tastes-
you know,
It tastes good.
Thank you,
Very
and
good.
we appreciate your time. We'll be sharing resources like
gotta
the
go.
flyers, and I will be sharing, thank you very much, Ian, and everyone who made this possible. But I'll be sharing more resources with you guys, so for signups, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you very
Well,
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, technology's taking the
Water
world
tastes
over the
good.
world. They probably noticed I was having a tough time just changing my password here when I came in.
Moving on to item number 2, Chairman proclaims the week of May 22 to 26, 2023 as Public Works Week.
Again? No, I'm just kidding. It's like Public Month Week.
Yeah. Okay, proclaiming the week of May 22nd through the 26th, 2023 as Public Works Week. Whereas Public Works employees provide services to our community and are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems, programs such as streets and highways, solid waste collection, and improvement districts. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vital dependent vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials. Now therefore, I, Martin Porches, Chairman of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, proclaim the week of May 22nd through the 26th, 2023, to be Public Works Week, and encourage all citizens, businesses, publics, and private agencies and media to acquaint themselves with the issues involving our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life.
Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, for the recognition of National Public Works Week. All of Public Works staff is appreciative of your continued support and commitment to what we do. This week is a national celebration of public works professionals. This year's theme is, we have a poster here showing this year's theme, is connecting the world through public works. This is a representation of how public works connects us all through infrastructure and service while enhancing the quality of life for the communities these professionals serve. I have here with me individuals from each of the divisions, if they would come up, please, of Public Works. Our divisions include highway maintenance, traffic control, asset management, waste management, fleet services, administration, improvement districts, and public works safety. The Yuma County Public Works professionals are always ready to serve and are resilient in their ability to overcome any challenges they face. Our entire department possesses these qualities on a daily basis to provide the services that our residents expect and deserve. And I want to say that you've got a very, very dedicated public works staff, and I'm very proud to be part of that team. This past Friday, we had our annual Public Works kickoff event, and we hosted approximately 100 students of the Yuma Union High School District's Career and Technical Education Program. Public Works divisions, along with other county departments, were there, and they participated by setting up booths so the students could visit each booth and hear of the different careers that are available in the county. And the other departments that participated were the county's safety division, DDS, engineering, emergency management, facilities management, and ITS's GIS team. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody who participated. And on this Friday afternoon at 11:30 at Public Works, we'll be having a barbecue, and you are invited to attend. We'd love to have you.
This Friday, at 11:30.
Thank you, and thank everybody, all the department, because, you know, we see you out there every day, so I know you guys put in a lot of
With
work.
the exception of today, where we see you here.
We're all here.
We've got some,
But they're going back to work.
Yeah. That's what they say. but-
I want to thank
I don't
all
see
your
him every
team.
day.
I know I call on you guys quite a bit, and you guys are very responsive and quick to respond and deal with whatever issues. So thank you very much for all your work.
Yeah, I wish we had some Bud Light, but
Let's take a photo and.
Oh, wait,
this-
one more thing. I just had a cleanup in one of my areas. Thank you. It was very successful. Thank you so much. Are you as old as I am now?
There you go. Go ultra wide.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
You bring in those t-shirts, you
Thank you.
I'll catch you both.
I got,
Chairman, is that the extra large for you? Extra large.
I need a double X.
Here, you get that big one, so use that as a flag.
Oh, yeah.
By the time he figures it out, it'll be like 2 days later. Hey, hold on a minute, man. It's Supervisor. Torches? No, I gave him torches.
Me dieron dos?
Pancrazy.
Oh.
Pancrazy.
Don't forget me.
Did I get
But I got a little. Oh, yes.
Supervisor Reyes?
Commander Gordo?
Supervisor Simmons, take it over there and make sure you put it on when you're working out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Oh, one team, one vision.
It's a shitty color. All right.
All right, item number 3, presentation of the Yuma County Quarterly Safety Excellence Award.
Good morning, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. I'm Yuma County Administrator. As you're well aware, safety is a priority for Yuma County. We strive to ensure that Yuma County employees have a safe, secure, and healthful place in which to work. Success of Yuma County and Superior Court is the direct result of the hard work and innovation that our valued employees deliver every day. The Safety Excellence Award recognizes county employees who consistently promote safety in the workplace. Any employee can nominate another employee for this award. All nominees are screened for eligibility, and the committee selects the winner. Nominees are recognized in the UCount newsletter. They receive a certificate of achievement, a challenge coin, a safety pen, and an Arctic mug. The winner of the Safety Excellence Award will receive an Arctic USafe tumbler and a check for $100. All nominees will be automatically submitted for the annual Safety Excellence Award with the prize of $250. I will now hand it over to Safety Compliance Supervisor Martin Espinoza to introduce this quarter's nominees.
And hope there's instructions not to use any of that against the supervisor.
Yes, thank you, Ian. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Martin Espinoza, Safety Compliance Supervisor. I'm pleased to recognize all the Safety Excellence nominees for the first quarter of 2023 and announce the winner. I'm also happy to announce all the 4 employees that were nominated in this quarter through the months of January and March. So I would like for each employee to come forward next to the podium when I announce your name to be recognized as a Safety Excellence nominee. First nominee, Carlos Marquez. Carlos Marquez works for Human Resources as a safety officer and security officer. Carlos has been in the role for 1 year and with the county for 1 year. Carlos took on many roles outside of his regular duties, for example, by providing the elections division with security services at various vote center locations. Carlos also provided emergency response training to all departments housed in Building 198 and 102. Carlos accommodated the department's work schedule to ensure that no employee missed critical training. Carlos also took initiative and developed an employee advisory to educate county staff on security and safety measures prior to the start of the new construction of the new county administration building. Carlos has a true passion for keeping everyone safe and informed, and most importantly, safe at all times. Thank you, Carlos. Our next nominee, Daniel Ornelas. Daniel Ornelas works for the Juvenile Court as a probation services supervisor. Daniel Ornelas has been in this role for 1 year and with the county for 18 years. On February 2023, Juvenile Court had solar canopies installed in its secured employee parking lot. Daniel found a secured temporary parking lot location at Aztec High School, coordinating the cleaning of hazardous materials on the property to prevent from any staff from getting hurt and damages from to county vehicles. Daniel also, the project was vital to the safety and staff and the security of all state and county vehicles. Daniel has volunteered to take any additional responsibilities related to safety due to staff shortages and is concerned for the safety of his officers. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Jen.
Our next nominee is Edna Lopez. Edna Lopez works for the Housing Department as a Housing Administrative Specialist. Edna has been in this role for 2 years and with the county for 23 years. Edna has been proactive in the department by conducting safety inspections, communicating with staff on potentially hazardous conditions, and working with staff to keep the workplace in safety compliance. The Yuma County Safety Division hosted a safety summit on March 9, 2023. ENA took initiative by reaching out to local businesses and successfully obtaining 2 sponsorships that provided cash donations for that safety summit. ENA volunteered to work at the safety summit to ensure the event went smoothly and participants had a great time while they learned about workplace safety. Thank you, Edna. And our final nominee, Esteban Lopez. Esteban Lopez works for the Department of Development Services as a permit service supervisor. Esteban has been in this role for 10 months and with the county for 2.5 years. On March 29, 2023, a fire alarm was activated, which resulted in a building evacuation. At this time, Esteban was the only supervisor in the office. Without hesitation, Esteban took charge, directed employee evacuation, and assumed employee accountability per their emergency action plan. Esteban ensured all staff was accounted for and injury-free. Esteban also met with the department's safety officer to provide a post-action review and to improve procedures for future emergency situations. Thank you, Esteban. We have such deserving nominees, and it's very difficult to select one winner. After much deliberation, the committee has selected a winner. I'm pleased to announce that our Safety Excellence Award recipient for the first quarter of 2023, please join me in congratulating Carlos Marquez.
Take a picture?
Yeah, make sure you don't spend it all in one place. We'll be watching.
Everybody get in the center.
Yeah, you guys get
You guys
the
can start.
in the app. We'll go down there.
Okay.
We're just support staff. One's me, one's you.
One, two, three.
Best position.
Behind you now, he's enjoying that.
Do you want a picture with just? Oh, yeah, they want a picture with just.
Oh, come on.
With his second grade teacher.
I know. Yes, he's one of my students, yes, he is. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. I love it.
Moving on to item number 4, presentation of the county line. Yuma 77.
Yuma County Public Works is seeking out volunteers to adopt a highway. A groundbreaking ceremony was held for the Tacna Water Infrastructure Project. Yuma County's budget review team unveiled their projected budget for the next fiscal year. And the release of water into the Gila River prompts road closures. These stories and more, this is your County Line. Yuma County's Adopt a Highway program is empowering individuals, businesses, and community organizations to take action in maintaining the cleanliness of county highways, arterials, and collector streets. Adopting 1 mile segments, volunteers commit to biannual cleanups for a minimum of 2 years. The program requires participants to be Yuma County residents, ages 18 or older, with work being done during daylight hours. County-provided safety vests, trash bags, and signs acknowledging contributors enhance their efforts.
It's a win-win for Yuma County and the residents. The county wins because they do a cleanup for that mile segment, and then also the residents or the group or organization that do the cleanup, we put a sign up in each end of the mile segment, to recognize them.
Renewal options are available after the initial commitment expires. If you're interested in taking part in the Adopt a Highway program, visit yumacountyaz.gov. Together, let's keep Yuma County pristine. Yuma County held a groundbreaking ceremony at TACNA's Kiwanis Park for the TACNA Water Infrastructure Project. The project involves constructing a new water treatment and distribution system to replace the existing 40-year-old system, which was deemed impractical to rehabilitate.
It's a game changer, I think. It's going to improve the quality of life for the people out here. The water for years has been terrible out here. So I think this is really going to help the neighborhoods, as well as any businesses that want to come in out here.
The general public joined Yuma County along with several funding entities to celebrate the commencement of this significant project. Stay tuned for further updates as Yuma County continues its efforts to ensure access to safe water for all. In Arizona, the budget season is in full swing as cities and counties present their proposed budgets. The Yuma County Board of Supervisors conducted special budget sessions on May 1st and 2nd. During these sessions, the county administrator and the budget review team unveiled their projected budget for the upcoming fiscal year of 2023-24. Various county departments, agencies, and special groups had the opportunity to address the board regarding the proposed budget. With input from directors and representatives, the Yuma County budget team formulated a comprehensive budget plan. Now, the Board of Supervisors will discuss any desired modifications and provide direction. Once a tentative budget is adopted, it will undergo final approval. The Painted Rock Dam has recently initiated the controlled release of water into the Gila River, causing some flooding and the closure of certain roads. The Painted Rock Dam is a flood control dam that holds back water to prevent flooding. However, over time, the dam releases water downstream, which flows along the Gila River and eventually reaches Yuma County.
Be careful. It's swift-moving water. It's moving pretty good. And just be mindful of your surroundings. Watch your kids. With the currents, you could step off in a hole and it could go from 18, 20 inches to 2 or 3 feet. And like I said, you can drown in a glass of water. So just be careful and watch your kids and enjoy it while you can.
The current release of water has prompted the closure of all low-flow river crossings in East County until further notice. River crossings equipped with bridges remain open and accessible. Residents are strongly advised to exercise caution and stay informed about the latest updates from local authorities regarding road closures and safety measures.
Hi, I'm Mary, and this is your Health Watch. Summer is here, and what better way to cool off than in the water? While pools, rivers, and lakes are all popular choices here in Yuma, they can be dangerous. The river's recent rise in water level can lead to hidden debris, change in water current, and the relocation of local wildlife, and more. Let's review the ABCs of water safety to make sure you stay safe while having fun in the sun. The letter A stands for Active Adult Supervision. Designate a water watcher who keeps constant visual supervision for all children and be within arm's reach of infants and toddlers. The letter B stands for barriers. Make sure the pool is surrounded by a 4-sided fence, a self-closing, self-latching gate and door locks, and alarms on any door that opens to a body of water. The final letter C stands for classes. CPR and first aid classes for adults and swimming lessons and water safety classes for kids will make sure everyone knows what to do in an emergency. Congratulations! You now know your ABCs of water safety. For more information, visit www.safekids.org. Stay safe, Yuma.
We'd like to take a moment to recognize our Safety Award winner of the quarter. Carlos Marquez works for Human Resources as a security officer. Carlos took on many roles outside his regular duties, such as providing the Elections Division with security services at various vote center locations. Carlos also provided emergency response training to all departments housed in Building 198 and 102. He took the initiative and developed an employee advisory to educate county staff on safety and security protocols before the construction of the new county administration building. Carlos is passionate about keeping everyone informed and, most importantly, safe at all times. Before we head out, Memorial Day is just around the corner. It's time to reflect and pay tribute to the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice while serving in the U.S. military. In observance of this significant holiday, please note that most county offices will be closed on Monday, May 29th. All county offices will resume regular business hours on Tuesday, May 30th. Thank you for joining us for this County Line. We'd like to know of any story ideas you may have. And if you're looking for stories we've covered in the past, log on to our website at yumacountyaz.gov/VOD. We'll see you on the next County Line.
That was channel Yuma 77. We'll move on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve all items presented on the consent calendar.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve item 1 to 14. And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay, motion passed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like
Yes.
to thank those folks who are being reappointed to the Free Library District and for their service to the county.
Duly
A lot
noted.
of work.
Thank you. All
Is the
right.
lady from the House board here?
I don't.
Virginia? Oh, there she is in the corner. We need to
No,
pull
I
this
don't-
here.
I don't see
No,
her.
that's a
Oh,
library.
bien,
bien.
sí.
Suelo no sigue.
Ahí viene el-
You want me to move?
No, you're good.
Okay. Hi.
Ahí va, le voy a traer una silla.
Aquí mero, y luego
¿Aquí?
Sí, siéntate aquí. Es que se
It's
siente
so
en la
lucky
calle.
to be between the chairman and the vice chair.
I am. That's what I asked. You want me to move?
Right.
Gained a couple of pounds over the weekend.
Is that better?
I got in
Virginia.
there, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I got under
No,
there.
ahí está el de ese, mira. Atrás de
Oh.
tu de este, pónselo ahí arriba. There you go.
Good day.
All right, well, the board will convene as a housing governing board. We'll move on to consent calendar. The following item listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon one motion with no separate discussion unless board members so request. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move, if you could second the motion to approve it on consent, and I just want to say this is normally a pretty much
A routine?
a routine, yeah, we do this every year. So we signed that resolution, we adopt the amended low-rent public housing admissions and occupancy policy. So I'd like to make a motion if,
There's a motion, and is there a second?
Virginia. Todavía no votamos, pero bueno.
I heard a second.
That's in case,
There's
it's already, I made the motion, Virginia seconded. So that-
There's a motion and a second to approve, adopt, and authorize the chairman to sign resolution number 2023-20. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Gracias.
We just wanted to make them work, Virginia. Vice Chair.
Now I gotta suck it in again, huh?
Pull it out, move it in.
Better than
There
having
we
to
go.
get up and move and.
Finally found his colleague.
Yes, I could do that one. huh?
Go ahead and adjourn the Yuma County Housing Board and reconvene the Yuma Yuma County Board of Supervisors. Discussion and action items. Item number 1, County Administration, Public Works. And discussion and possible action to select a new name for the Foothills Multi-Purpose Complex currently being developed into a new park. Mr. Simmons, what's the name? Go ahead, Rachel.
Good morning. Chairman Porteous, members of the board, Rachel Stallworth, Yuma County Public Works. And I'm excited to be here today because at our last meeting of the Parks Commission, they took an opportunity to come up with several names that they wanted you to consider to change the name of the Foothills Multi-Purpose Complex into something that they felt would fit more appropriately in that area of the community. And I know that since there have been a couple extra names added for you to consider that are on the agenda today. So I'm very interested to see what you guys come up with and what the discussion comes up with, and hope we can leave with a name, a new name for the park today. So
We're putting that up on the board?
So we got how many, 12?
11.
11.
Mr. Chairman, members of
Simmons.
the board, you're free to choose from any of these 11 or come up with one that's not on the list. You're not restricted to this list.
Me, personally, I just think if we keep it simple and to the point, Foothills Community Park. Because a lot of people don't know what the trails are in there, and they're gonna try to figure out where the name comes from, I think, and it's hard to remember some of these names.
So the Darren Simmons Memorial Park is out?
Well, I'm not dead yet.
That's what we're trying to do here.
If you want to do it, wait till I'm dead. But, that's my opinion on it, just, very simple, Foothills Community Park.
Well, I mean, I'm a little concerned. Is it the Foothills Community Park or is it the county south, the eastern portion park? I mean, it makes it sound like it's just the Foothills. I mean, I suppose a lot of people from Yuma are gonna go down to that park. So why don't we call it the county something? The Foothills, the county, whatever. I'm trying to find them.
Chairman Porteous, members of the board, in consideration of that comment by Supervisor Reyes, I think it's based on the area in which it's located to designate it, and that's why you see Foothills so much in some of the suggestions.
It's kind of like the Gaston Park. Everybody calls it Gaston.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. People don't even know that it's a county.
Well, that's part of the problem. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that we do, people don't know. Libraries, people that think it's the Somerton Library or the San Luis Library or the Yuma Library, they don't know it's a county library. It's one of those things that identifies an area as a county park or as it's our first park. So the Foothills Park sounds great, but the Yuma County Foothills Park would sound even better.
Well, they have the second one there, which is Fortuna Foothills County Park.
That one I like. As long as it has county in it.
How about Foothills County Park? Yeah, Community Park.
Well, see, community sounds like it's a city park or a community park, and it is.
Yeah.
It's a county park.
Well, let's just
Foothills
change
Community
community to county. Foothills County Park.
Oh,
I'm fine with it.
Okay,
How's
Foothills
that sound?
I'll second that.
It's still FCP.
Yeah. Well, I just think if we keep it, you start putting the ends of trails and here's trail.
No.
People are gonna go, where are
Foothills
you
County
getting
Park.
that name from?
Foothills County Park.
The Foothills County
So,
Park sounds good.
Foothills County Park.
Foothills will come down.
Yeah, it still identifies as being the Foothills, but it does identify it as a county facility, and it has park in it. Parks and trails, but you don't want to put trails in it, so parks,
If
simple.
I might just make a comment on regarding that, the trails or whatever, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. We had a presentation by the city historian or whatever on the trails because we wanted them, you realize that, across the street there is a marker that designates De Anza Trails right there as that area for the De Anza Trails. And I think that's where some of this comes up from, was the historic and the trails part and the De Anza Trails. I think they wanted to keep that in the flow and to highlight that. It was kind of special.
Too bad. No, just kidding.
Nah.
Just kidding, but
They
All right.
can put
We
a
can't start
sign up
counting
there.
the trails because it would
Yeah, it's
identify
the
as a
Foothills
trail.
County Park, and then if we want, maybe put up
Trail.
a sign that
Sign.
shows the trails and
Mm-hmm.
explain the trails that come through that area.
I agree.
Information boards.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So the Foothills County Park would do.
Is there a motion?
So
Yeah,
moved.
he made the motion, I
Okay.
seconded it.
All right, motion by Supervisor Simmons, second by Supervisor Lyons.
As soon as he's dead, we can name it the Simmons
Simmons Memorial Park?
Right
Yeah.
now,
Don't rush me.
All those in favor?
I keep telling the city of San
All those
Luis
in
not to
favor, say
name.
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Tony, take the mic away. Oh.
Yes, I oppose. No, I'm just kidding. I'm testing the mic, 1, 2, 3, testing.
You should have never let him know it was accurate.
I keep telling the city of San Luis not to name those sewer expansions, the Reyes expansion or something, plan.
Any opposed? No? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. County Administrator, all special taxing districts, presentation.
Okay, good morning, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. Once again, Ian McGahee, County Administrator. This morning, I am pleased to present the tentative budget for Yuma County for fiscal year 2023-24. The tentative budget builds upon the recommended budget that I presented in detail at the last meeting that we had, the last regular meeting on May 1st. And it incorporates the changes that the board requested to the recommended budget into the tentative budget. This will be a more brief presentation than before, but if you have any questions, of course, jump in at any time. I know you're all very well familiar with this budget at this point. So just reviewing today's agenda related to this budget, we can go through as many of these items as you'd like, or as few. First is a brief summary that I'll be giving here, highlighting the changes from the recommended to tentative budgets. That would be followed by the interactive budget spreadsheet, which you also have as a handout. And finally, Budget Director Tony Struck is prepared to review the financial forecast and what-if scenarios if you so wish. This slide summarizes the changes requested by the board to the recommended budget, along with a couple of adjustments since we met on May 2nd. It adds a new jury clerk to the Clerk of Superior Court. It allows for the transfer of funds for a part-time court services assistant if needed, provides for a new senior grounds maintenance worker. It also allocates additional funds for Crossroads Mission and the food bank. It provides support for the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, contingent upon contributions from other entities. It accommodates anticipated increases to the County Supervisors Association dues. The CSA board meets later this month to review their proposed budget. It addresses an audit compliance issue involving information and technology services, which remediates a long-term repeated audit finding regarding inventory and classification of data. So this will put the county into compliance. And I'll review the personnel adjustments on the next slide, which are these. It details roughly $7,000 impact of a few adjustments made to the recommended budget based on input and updates provided by Human Resources. I can go into detail. Compensation adjustment, the third one down, is essentially a rounding issue, and you'll see the grade changes to a couple of positions made there. One reclassification was dropped due to the position becoming vacant. This slide shows the total number of full-time equivalent positions in the tentative budget compared to our current fiscal year budget. Overall, the tentative budget includes a net increase of 0.95 FTEs from all funds compared to the current year. And this just provides a little more detail with a breakdown of the personnel changes. It includes the 2 FTEs added to the general fund by the board, a second registered sanatorian added to the health district, and 6 positions eliminated by the health district as those positions' grant funding has come to an end. As you know, this budget recommends a nearly 9-cent decrease in the general fund tax rate. This tax rate maintains our current year levy and adds new construction. The library recommendation is an increase for operations of just over 1 cent, offset by a reduction of the same amount in debt service, netting to a zero change in the overall rate. The tentative budget includes an increase of just under 9 cents in the tax rate for the flood control district. So that means overall there is no increase to the combined property tax rate for all funds. So here we are, we're nearing the end of the process. The board is scheduled to adopt the tentative budget today, and that, as you know, is the maximum budget the board can consider prior to the final adopted budget. You'll also be asked to set the public hearing, truth and taxation hearing for June 19th, when the board will adopt the final budget for fiscal year 2023-24. So next, if you like, staff can present the interactive budget spreadsheet. Again, you have that as a handout, and/or the long-range financial forecast and what-if scenarios if desired. And that concludes the tentative budget presentation. I believe this is a responsible, fiscally sustainable budget that allows the county to effectively serve our residents, businesses, and visitors in the coming year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I just want to make a comment. I mean, it is a little bit anticlimactic when we get to the final or the tentative budget, because it takes a long time and a lot of meetings, a lot of different arguments from different people about whatever the needs are. I just want to make sure that the work of the budget review team and the work of every individual department head does not go unnoticed, at least not from us here. I think that we know that the work you do saves us a lot of pain and painstaking discussions that take place normally, because I know I've been here for some of those in the past. So I just want to tell you how thankful I am, particularly, that we get to this point. And there is a little bit of argument here and there, and I think that's sort of like a little bit natural. I just don't want the fact that it takes a long time, that it takes a lot of accommodation, that it takes a lot of review before it gets here to go unnoticed. Thank you, the budget review team. Thank you, every department head, whether you came in and said you were okay with it or whether you came in and said you needed something else. We needed to hear it, and we're here now. I don't have any particular comment that necessitates major changes on it. I just wanted to make sure that we had an idea. We keep moving the different tax rates around so that we don't increase the full tax rate, but it does, every time we shift, for example, every time we shift from the general fund, we reduce that fund over 10 years. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that, for me, I wouldn't like to mess with the general fund tax rate. Anything else can be moved around, but that one was a little difficult for me to deal with because it is the main source of revenues for the county as we go forward. Just making that point. This is not, I would say this is not a quote normal year. I think we're still coming out of the pandemic and the recession. I don't think we may be looking at one, but I think that overall the fact that there is a line that deals with the possibility of a recession just goes to show just how conservative this board is and how thoughtful the process has been. That even for that we prepared. That to me it's incredibly responsible of both the budget review team and the board of supervisors. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of work that is put in before we even start meeting with the budget team. I appreciate that. I know it's at the end when we hear it, we hear or we make some changes, but it's normal. I think it's sometimes we don't get to hear all of it, or if we don't see it. But I like the process, and like to continue seeing that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Would you?
Does anybody want to see the law? Do it again? I do.
All right, I don't care.
Is that okay, Tony?
That's
No,
fine,
just
man.
kidding.
Fine, man. Show him what he didn't understand.
Is there a motion, or we
I
just?
brought this just in case.
No, the case is not here.
So we.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman,
much.
We recommend, or just make a motion to.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept this budget as tentative.
I'll second the motion to make it partisan.
And set the date for June 19th for the truth and taxation.
And set the date for the truth and taxation
And
hearing
set the
to be
date for the truth and
19th?
taxation. I just
19th
wanted
of June.
Tony to be able to say
19th of
something.
June, right? The
So
same day
quiet.
we're supposed to approve the final budget? Is that when we have the truth
June
and taxation?
19th, yes,
June
sir.
19th.
Final
Same
budget.
time? Okay, all right.
All right.
No problem.
There's a motion and a second to approve
Any discussion? It's not regular.
the tentative budget. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry about this, Hill. I know you work all year to put together a presentation,
Hill
but
and Tony got
we've
off
seen it
easy
before.
today.
We've seen it all
Took the
before.
wind out of his sails.
Yeah, I know. He was just getting ready to put the stuff up on the screen.
Sorry, Gil.
Hey, Gil, you're gonna be okay, man.
Oh, he was probably very happy.
Moving on to,
Everybody
I don't want to see no
leave. What
TikToks
the
of you
heck?
dancing in your office, okay?
state and federal legislative updates.
Name, social security number, bank account
Alejandro.
number.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs Director for Yuma County. I'll be presenting the legislative update. On the state side, the governor signed the fiscal year 2024 budget. The legislature introduced, amended, and passed the state's budget between the evening of Monday, the 8th, and the afternoon of Wednesday, May the 10th. And the governor signed it the very next day. Despite some bumps along the way, all the bills passed with bipartisan supermajorities. The passed budget outlines a 17.8 billion spending plan for fiscal year 2024 that largely enacts one-time spending and revenue changes. This includes additional one-time funding for education, a reallocation of results-based funding for ongoing increase in K-12 funding, an individual income tax rebate, capital and transportation infrastructure investments, including more than 25 million improvements for Highway 95. The legislature took a break. It chose to adjourn for nearly a full month during the work on Monday, May the 15th. They will not be expected to return until June 12th. Through the motion made by each of the chamber's majority leaders, left the possibility of an earlier return open if agreed to by the Senate President and the House Speaker. And moving on to remaining issues, once the House and the Senate reconvene, water is one of them. There was a specific focus on water-related policies as the legislature adjourned. On Tuesday of last week, the House and the Senate convened for a joint legislative ad hoc study committee on water security in the House of Representatives. During the committee session, presentations were given by the South River Project and WIFA, providing insights into the respective agencies. On Wednesday, there was an inaugural meeting of the Governor's Water Policy Council. Governor Hobbs emphasized the significance of preserving and maintaining our groundwater supplies for the foreseeable future. The committee consisted of various stakeholders and legislators from both sides of the aisle, including Senator Kerr, who came together to address this important issue. And just today, Governor Katie Hobbs and California Governor Gavin Newsom, as well as Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo, announced that the Colorado River lower basin states have developed a plan to conserve 3 million acre feet over the next 3 years to protect the Colorado River system. And I left a copy of the letter that they signed late last night.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Alejandro, was this planned too, I hope?
This apparently is a call from the governors to do away with the VOR alternatives and rather consider what they're proposing now. The lower basin plan, as they called it, has been submitted to the Bureau of Reclamation with all 7 Colorado River Basin states, supporting its evaluation as an action alternative within the near-term Colorado River Operations Draft Supplemental Environmental Impact Statement, also known as Draft SEIS. And I don't know, I'll let you read the letter, but I'll just quickly quote from it. And it says, the Lower Basin States consensus proposal would result in greater protections for lake mead and lake fowl than either of the alternatives analyzed in the draft environmental impact statement. The consensus proposal would increase storage in Lake Mead and protect higher elevations than when proposed by the BOR. Implementations of this proposal will also enable the basin states, in collaboration with reclamation, to pivot to discussions on post-2026 operations that will address the impacts of climate change on system water supply availability and the existing overallocation of water. And I quote, "We urge you to quickly suspend the SEIS and commence with the analysis of the Lower Basin States consensus proposal that they submitted." So Supervisor Pancrasi had asked me to look into the BOR and the maybe inputting or making a comment from Yuma County on this. City of Yuma and the Yuma Ag Water Coalition are also considering to make a statement on it, but this may change.
This may change everything.
Everything, yes, and that just came out this morning.
So where is the meeting on the 24th? It's not happening? The one that was scheduled?
Which meeting?
Well, it was supposed to be a water meeting sometime in the governor's office, the 24th. Is that changed?
Supervisor Reyes, I've tried to confirm with Nick Ponder. I'll follow up this morning.
Follow up, I just want to make sure that we plan accordingly because.
The 24th or the 25th?
24th or the 25th?
I think it's on the 25th, because it was on the same day.
Was it Thursday?
as the CSA meeting.
Mhm, it is.
Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
I wanted to announce here today that the June meeting of the Water
25th.
Infrastructure and Finance Authority will be held in Yuma. I'll work with Alejandro to make sure he has those dates to send out to everybody on the time.
Yeah.
And you may have to notice that meeting if everybody
Yeah,
goes.
you may notice it because there'll probably be a quorum then.
Wade Noble will be one of the featured speakers that day.
Right.
Biosolids or biosolids bill.
That's a good move, right there, from water to biosolids. Mhm. Very good transition.
HB 2669 passed the state senate unanimously on Monday, May the 15th, and will now head back to the House for final reading as soon as it reconvenes. I will continue to work with Representative Tim Dunn, who sponsored the bill, and the rest of our state legislators to make sure the bill makes it out of the House as soon as possible. And as soon as that takes place, it will be sent to the governor for her signature. While the bill may not resolve all the challenges that we face in Yuma County regarding biosolids, it definitely moves the needle forward by codifying existing ADEQ rule on pathogen reduction, which means that biosolid operations should till or inject biosolids in a promptly manner. There will be an ad hoc study committee in the off-season to study the issue further and potentially inform policy decisions moving forward. There was a brief consideration of an amendment to require domestic septage to meet the treatment standards of Class B biosolids. But meetings with ADEQ, Representative Dunn, and Supervisor Pancrasi, who also joined those meetings, led us to the understanding that there is not sufficient data to mandate this treatment, but it will be hopefully be a portion of what is discussed during the off-season in the ad hoc committee. I would like to move on from biosolids and let the public know, inform the public that Secretary of State Adrian Fontes will be visiting Yuma County on Tuesday, May 23rd. He'll be meeting with Recorder Colwell, election staff, county supervisors, and Mayor Nichols. And he will also be visiting the Heritage Library to look at some records.
What time?
10 o'clock, if
10 o'clock.
I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, 10:15 is what we've noticed on the public notice for the meeting here. He'll be touring the recorder's office first, and then coming over here 10-ish, 10:15.
On the federal front, as you know, on May 11, Title 42, a pandemic-era policy that allowed for the rapid expulsion of asylum seekers through the COVID-19 pandemic ended. In anticipation of the end of Title 42, several changes to federal immigration processes have been made, which definitely impact county governments. as it does with Yuma County. See, these are some of the additional federal agency actions, sending 1,500 active duty troops that will join about 2,500 National Guardsmen at the border for approximately 90 days now that Title 42 has expired. They're also looking for expedited removal proceedings. DHS plans to expand CBP facilities holding capacity, increase access to counsel through installing phone lines to conduct credible fear interviews, and to schedule those interviews within 24 hours. They're also planning to set up new regional processing centers in Guatemala and Colombia. And other measures enacted, including increasing removal flights for those without legal basis to remain in the U.S. and creating a new family reunification process. To some extent, these new measures seem to be working. As you know, Yuma County numbers have been dropping in the last several days, to the extent that our emergency office, emergency operations center is no longer open, but it's ready to go back to business as soon as it's needed. But we were seeing numbers of buses go down from 10 to 5. The last number I heard is 3 buses going out from the Regional Center for Border Health.
Alejandro, a couple of comments regarding that. One is the impact that particular policy or that particular expectation had on the regular border crossing. I mean, because of all the hoopla about Title 42, the border crossing has become increasingly difficult to come back. I mean, waits of 3, 4, 5 hours. They have actually tightened up the border to the point that people who legally can cross can barely do that with any kind of expectation to come back at any time soon. And that has happened throughout the whole system. I mean, every time, something is done to sort of tighten up, quote, the asylum seekers or refugees or whatever you call them, it has an impact on people who actually live on the border and work on the border. I keep hearing the mayor of Yuma and everybody talking about the image beating we're taking. Well, we keep taking it when you keep talking about, it's still there, the search can happen. I mean, that's all you hear. When somebody talks about Yuma in San Francisco, they talk about the border crossing. They don't talk about ranching, farming, and all this other stuff. I understand we live in a crisis situation continually, but emphasizing it over and over again and never letting it end doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do us any good on the border crossing. It doesn't do us any good as an image for the city of Yuma. I particularly feel that we've been extremely lucky in having the Amanda's group handling a lot of this stuff. We've been extremely lucky, but we don't show that outside Yuma. We don't show that out. What people read about Yuma, when people talk about Yuma, they talk about hordes of immigrants trying to get across over at the dam. We've got to stop highlighting all the negative stuff and start focusing some of the positive stuff and changing the focus from, quote, illegal or migrant situations into the real problems that we have at the border crossing legal people. It has become, if you go down to San Luis and come across, it's become a fortress. The port of entry doesn't look like a port of entry. It looks like a concentration camp back in Germany. It has barbed wires. It has concrete barriers. They limit it to 1. They have people now checking your papers before you get to the place where you're supposed to show your papers. I get it. It's preparation. But this preparation is having an impact. Now, the border, the U.S. border crossing is being utilized to process migrants. So now there's a line of migrants waiting on the side, con cartones, with stuff waiting, with chairs, waiting while you walk across. I get that. I get the let's prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I get it. But when you get the best, you should eat it. You should take it and say, oh, fine, it's working out this way. Not, oh, well, something may happen tomorrow. Well, sure, something can happen tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. That's not the point. The point is it isn't happening as we thought it would happen. Preparation is good. I've spoken to the mayor of San Luis. I've spoken to the mayor of Somerton. They're prepared, and the mayor of Yuma keeps making headlines about, well, the search isn't over. I read it in the paper this morning. Well, it's not helping out people who are going to try to do this legally. It is being utilized to make the crossing for legal people even tougher. At some particular point, we got to give up on this, and we got to focus on helping people who legally can't come to this country and should be helping people who legally can't come to this country without all this hoopla happening all the time about the border being overrun by a horde of people. It isn't happening. The sky isn't falling. The sky isn't falling. The numbers are lower. Just accept it and just move on.
I will say that I've been hearing a lot of complaints about the border crossing there. It's taking very long. I know it was a couple of days ago. It was only one lane open, and one lane for ready lane and regular traffic, and one lane for the sentry. I've told the mayors before from all the cities, let's write a letter, because I think this, let's complain about this director, the port director here. He closes it or does whatever he wants to when he wants to. Unless we start complaining or sending letters to Kelly, Cinema, Grijalva, all the congressmen, and let them know. Because it's just not, that's legal crossing, and he's holding it up. And it just, so.
Mr. Chairman, can I address a couple of those things, not to be contentious, but some of the things that they're encountering are an increased number of gotaways, people who are evading and not necessarily giving themselves up. And it's critical that Border Patrol and Customs be able to do their job. We had 5 people on the known terrorist watch list that were intercepted last week. And while the violence in San Luis Rio, Colorado continues to escalate, for control of this, Border Patrol, Homeland Security are extremely concerned about that volatility. And so those are some of the discussions that we've had. And I know that there are fine points that we could discuss, but for the most part, they just want to get back to doing their job, slow the flow of fentanyl. And in Yuma, Arizona, we have the national average is 1 in 1,000 deaths per fentanyl. And in Yuma, it's 19, 20, and 21 respectively out of 100,000 over the last 3 years. So we still have challenges here. Yes, we need to improve our image. I know that our tourism suffered. The military has also expressed concern about their ability to conduct exercises when people are walking across, and the military readiness has been affected as well. So I understand and hear everything that everyone is saying. However, this is what they have shared with me, and those are the concerns within law enforcement and military here in Yuma.
Well, those concerns have always been the border issues, all the time. That has never stopped. I think also we just got to be careful what we ask. But I'm willing to, if we want to stop the more crossing of fentanyl, there's a lot more things they can do there. They don't do it. So let's start pressing for that, and that will start. Well, we'll see a decrease on that, the port of entry, because it comes through the port of entry.
Exactly. My point is, look, the Border Patrol's job is to go for those people who don't want to be caught, who don't want to be reported, who don't want to show up, and who don't want to turn themselves. That's their job. They're 20-some thousand or 30,000 Border Patrol officials. That's what they're supposed to be doing, stopping those people who actually want to cross into this country legally. That's their job. I understand they don't want to be transporting people. I get it. But I mean, we're not talking about those numbers anymore. And on top of that, I do not want them to stop doing whatever they're doing. What I want is the regular crossing to go back to the regular crossing, so that essentially people who can legally come across the border don't have to deal with this stuff. Yes, every once in a while, I can understand their concern about being overrun by a surge, but it's not happening. All that's happening is the regular crossings, both going into Mexico and coming in from Mexico, are becoming a problem for people who normally could cross. I am 100% behind all the efforts that are being made to sort of deal with people who come in and seek asylum or seek refugee status. I am 100% behind that. I just don't see why that has to impact people who are coming over the border to do their normal things. They're going to Walmart, they're going to someplace, and they can't get across. I mean, that's impacting another area that is really, really critical for the Yuma County. That is impacting Yuma County economically. That is my concern, that at some point in time we have to balance this out. I mean, the Border Patrol should continue doing what they're doing, and we should support the military. We should support their efforts to stop people who don't want to, abide by the law. But that shouldn't necessitate us shutting down the border every time to practice, or it's not conducive to anything. On the fentanyl crisis, most of this smuggling that is being done through the ports of entry. There are some people who would probably do it on the outside of the port of entry, but the vast majority of this is through the port of entry. And to stop this, I've suggested last time we start looking at vending machines, because what has improved the survival rate of most people who go in an overdose is Norcom. It's not a particular policy. It's just accessibility to this medicine. So we should make it more accessible to people while this situation lasts. We used to be like a conduit. People would go through here and get someplace else. Well, I've complained about this before. While we're focusing on refugees and asylum seekers, the criminal element is coming over, filtering over for the border. We're getting to be a big city. We have shootings. People get shot in the head. Those are the type of things that come with a surge in crime. A surge in crime isn't being brought in by those migrant seekers or those asylum seekers. We need to pay attention to the fact that it's the cartels moving slowly into Yuma County, and that, yes, we have another issue to deal with. But that's a separate issue as far as I'm concerned. Legal crossing should be facilitated, not made more difficult than it technically is. Now, I've made this point over to the port director, so I'm not saying anything new. Again, I'm not pulling back my support, and I don't think any of us are pulling back the support from the efforts that the federal government, state government, and local governments are putting out to sort of deal with this migrant situation. But I keep saying, the more we resolve the issue here, the less the government really deals with it at their level. So anyway, I'm just sort of droning on. Sorry. I'll move it away. I'm going to shut it down for a while.
So, moving on, a bipartisan group of 15 U.S. senators, including Senator Sinema, reintroduced the Bipartisan Local Infrastructure Act, which would allow counties to advance refund municipal bonds on a tax-exempt basis. The tax-exempt status of advance refunding municipal bonds has been unavailable to counties since 2017 as a result of spending offset provision of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Advance refunding of bonds allows counties to address problematic bond terms and conditions or restructure debt service payments for budget flexibility. It also frees up county funds to be used for other important capital projects and minimizes costs to taxpayers. That will be my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, if you have any questions.
Any other questions for? Thank you, Alejandro.
This bill, they just introduced it.
Thanks, Alejandro. Summer current events.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did.
Lynn?
Oh, here we go.
Woke up to that.
I went to a Title 42 meeting. I went to the water project, the groundbreaking out in Tacna. I attended a COAD meeting, of the Chamber's Transportation meeting, CSA Legislative Update meeting, or I went to the Peace Officers Memorial ceremony. It was absolutely beautiful. I attended Morning Scoop, which is up in Phoenix, because it was on water, and it was very informative. I went to I attended via Zoom the USDA's La Paz County Rural Development programs, and then the USDA Rural Development funding announcements. I attended the CHA Steering Committee meeting, which has to do with the Health Department. I attended the PM10 meeting. I went to the GYEDC quarterly luncheon meeting, which was very interesting. And I met with Dave Sellers and went through Sellers Petroleum, their whole campus, and learned a great deal. And that's it, I think.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
a lot of what Lynn did plus more, and met with several constituents.
And WIFA, you attended all
And
your
WIFA,
WIFA stuff, yeah.
Supervisor Simmons.
Attended the BOS special session, Walton Mohawk Irrigation District Board meeting, Walton Town Council meeting, which they kind of surprised me and gave me an award for my helping them trying to get through some stuff. Attended the 4-H awards at the fairgrounds, had the Tacna Water Project groundbreaking, had a Yuma County Facilities Management meeting, also attended Antelope High School Board meeting, Antelope FFA Awards and Officer Installment, toured Mohawk School. They're going through their $5 million renovation. They're almost there, so a lot of changes to it. Had a meeting with the county school superintendent, county treasurer, and one of the Antelope board members to discuss some issues going on at the high school. Had my community meeting and met with numerous people in my district over other issues.
I'm already tired. No, it was kind of to me, it wasn't that busy of a week or 2 weeks. I did meet at the Great Yuma Port Authority. We did have a meeting, and I attended that. I also attended a vision group meeting, which is where you get to tell the port director directly how you feel.
Did you tell?
I told him, and he responded by saying, "Are you going to support me or not?" Kind of like, okay. It's not, again, an issue of support or not. It's an issue of different perspectives. But, again, I attended a meeting there. I also had spoken to the mayor of San Luis. We're working together to put in a new substation out in the newer area of town. And I met with Arlene, who I'm surprised you haven't introduced us totally with. Coming up, okay, coming up. And so it's been a busy week. And celebrated my birthday, just in case you guys.
Yes, happy birthday. That's
Thank you.
what his beads are for.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you
he's
very
as old
much.
as me.
All right.
I attended WIR this past week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talks about water and forest and fires, but a lot of talk mainly about the forest fires and getting prepared when all the
Get them
snow
started?
leaves
Get
melting.
them started, preventing
Not
wildfire.
preventing that. That's it.
Well, we don't have forests here, but
No.
the rivers.
Starting the desert.
Along the river is where we get a lot of ours, and we had one out east about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago
sure.
that was rather large.
Yes.
When we were doing the groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, while we were
Exactly.
doing the groundbreaking,
Did,
yeah.
did we get the water all the way down to the river from Gila?
Yeah.
Is it on the river now? Is it up at the, so I was hoping to see some water run through the river at the San Luis Bridge in there. I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
you won't get it on the Colorado.
No?
No.
It's not in the Colorado?
Diverted.
No. They're gonna hold it right there in Gaston.
I want to hit
Hunter's
you with
Hole.
the water source thing.
Chairman, of
Just
course,
be-
the Tacna Water Project groundbreaking, multiple meetings with the city of Yuma, Somerton, EOC briefings regarding the border situation, GYPA. We had our quarterly admin staff meeting, local workforce development board meeting, GYEDC Board of Directors meeting, County Managers Association meeting. I attended virtually due to the border situation happening here at the time. La Cosecha Graduates event at AWC, which was nice. We had our 198 South Main Street salsa competition, and I don't think he's still here. Safety Compliance Supervisor Martin Espinoza has the best salsa in the building, so make sure you seek him out for that. And I did want to introduce Arlene Galaviz. She's here this morning. She's our new Yuma County Communications and Public Affairs Administrative Director. She previously served Yuma County as our human resources trainer and also worked in the Yuma County Public Defender's Office. She went over to the dark side with the city of Yuma for some time, working
say
for the
so.
mayor, and did a great job there. We're very, very happy to have her back. So welcome back, Arlene. That's it.
Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you.
All right. Meeting adjourned.